Good evening, viewers. Welcome to Crushed Souls. I'm Rik.
And I am Mark.
And we have a little confession to make. So, the next few episodes are going to be a little bit different. Because we're not recording this commentary while playing live. We did record the commentary while playing. But in one of my definitely smarter moments as... not even as a content creator, as a human being... I decided, you know what, I'm going to try and save some space on the hard drive that all of our stuff gets saved to. Or archived on. I tried to put it on the archive drive. And there were some old videos, and I think it was all the footage for our Dark Souls playthrough on Strange Play.
Oh, yes.
I was like, I don't need this footage because the videos are there. I've got the final videos saved. I don't need the raw footage anymore.
Yeah.
And there was a few hundred gigs worth of raw footage. So I was like, yeah, I'll delete that folder. Completely forgetting that for some reason the audio commentary folder was saved in the Dark Souls folder. My filing system's a fucking mess.
I can sort of, well, I mean, I already know what happened, but
yeah,
I can see where this is going.
Absolute mess. And yeah, I ended up accidentally deleting every single bit of commentary that you and I have ever done, and every single bit of commentary that Simon and I have ever done for the Strange Play thing. Yeah, I lost everything.
But you got back the footage.
Well, the footage was safe until earlier today, when... So I've been having problems with the PC. For those of you who've been watching this for a while, you've probably heard me jump up going, don't restart now, because my computer hasn't... Oh, I forgot that happened.
It's honestly one of the things that you told me. You said, episodes 50 to 53 have kind of gone pear-shaped, and I just thought, is that the one where the bomb goes off? Because I think I laughed for about 35 seconds straight after that happened.
Yeah.
It was so unexpected.
Yeah.
I'd also like to apologise for the listeners, because my voice is slightly shot. I'm suffering from what the French call l'influenza des masculines.
Ah, man flu.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been suffering with that for it's been just over 2 weeks now.
Yeah, yeah. You have complained many a time.
And I still feel awful. I still feel, but better, somewhat better. It's been bad though, because I've been using the nasal spray, like the decongestant stuff.
Yeah.
And I've been mixing it up between like the Vicks decongestant, like the menthol stuff, and then the Sudafed stuff.
You're not supposed to mix your drugs, it's bad for you.
Yeah, my nose bleeds when I blow it now. It's been that bad.
And the blood is black.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, 'cause I've not been on the underground for a while. Oh, we're not doing very well at this DLC, are we?
I mean, I remember we bumbled around a fair bit, didn't we?
No spoilers. Because, what's the point in saying what's going to happen before it happens?
Well, I can't even remember this footage. All I remember specifically was the Boomhammer section, and we've gone past that. And it still made me laugh, although not as long as the previous time we watched. Or played, rather.
I've lost count how many times we've done this particular bit.
Yeah, with its dastardly traps and hunters shooting at us.
Yeah.
And great balls of fire.
Oh, that reminds me, actually. Terminator, Dark Fate.
Dark Fate, yeah.
I went to see it again yesterday.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And you know your big complaint that you had about it, because we spoke at the game convention. Not the game convention,
the gaming market.
The game market.
Yeah.
You said if he can turn his hand into a gun...
Yes.
He didn't. He didn't turn his hand into a gun.
Did he not?
No. We're going to go like mild spoilers for the beginning of Terminator Dark Fate, but I'm going to try and leave it as vague as possible. When he goes to the place, and the guy's like, you need a helmet and a visor.
Yes. Yeah.
He looks down at the dude's belt, and you can clearly see him looking at the guy's gun.
Yeah.
And then when you see him again, he's got his hand in the bag. When it pulls away, it moves around the gun. So he created a bag around the gun. to mask it.
Okay.
And that's yeah, because no moving parts. Like he couldn't create bullets or gunpowder.
Yeah.
So that's why he kept using knives, because he actually just had the gun hidden in a liquid metal bag.
I mean, I think my biggest issue with any Terminator film since T2 is that to me the T1000 is like it's pretty much the perfect Terminator.
Yeah.
Every iteration they've done since then, they've sort of gone, well, it's the T1000, but it can do this, and it doesn't add anything to something which is essentially just a polymorphous blob of liquid metal with a sentient mind and the ability to kill.
Oh, something that I am going to say as well, because I've seen it in a load of reviews and a load of Easter egg videos and ending explained videos and stuff. And I hate calling out other YouTubers, because we're not exactly what you'd call good, but I do feel that this is something that needs to be addressed. If you're doing a video on Terminator Dark Fate, fucking stop calling Arnie's Terminator a T800. He's not a T800.
He's not.
He's a Cyberdyne System Model 101. He is not a T800. He was a T800 in Terminator 2. That Terminator melted like a motherfucker. He is a different model Terminator, and he says it in the film. He literally says verbatim, Cyberdyne System Model 101. He's not a fucking T800. Stop it. If you're gonna review a film, or if
Get your facts straight.
That's the boom hammer. But no, if you're going to review a film or do an Easter egg video on a film or anything like that on a film, fucking get your facts straight.
Well, it's funny because I've gone back and sort of watched.
I don't know why I'm so passionate about that.
Amazing. Every word of what you just said was wrong.
No. I mean, I've watched a fair few sort of review videos on the film, and to some extent, I do agree with some of the sort of negative things that happen within the film. And while I do think it is a good film, it's far better than anything that came after T2. And as far as I'm concerned, Genesis doesn't exist. I thought that was a terrible film.
Oh, Genesis was garbage.
It was hot garbage with a side of arse, or ass for our American cousins.
There is some, I think it was Movie Bob on The Escapist did a review on it, and he put it in he gave it 7 out of 10.
Right.
And that's a good score.
That's a fair enough score, I think.
I'd have given it a little higher myself, but that's only because for me Terminator 2 is like a 10 out of 10.
Oh yeah.
So I'm happy to give this one like a high 7, low 8.
Right.
But he gave it 7 out of 10, and he said it is the best sequel since Judgment Day. The problem is, with all the failed sequels that they've messed up, every idea in this film has already been done before over the last 20 years.
Precisely, yeah.
Or the last 25 years. We've seen everything that they do in this film. We've already seen it in lesser Terminator films, so it feels like a best of. And I've heard people compare it to like The Force Awakens as like a soft reboot that just kind of retreads old ground, and I think that's completely fair.
No, I can agree with that.
It's completely fair. And also, as much as Arnold in this, after watching it twice, is my favourite Terminator. He is my favourite iteration of that Terminator from any of the films.
Well,
I absolutely fucking love him.
One of the reviews that I watched, they thought that the idea of a Terminator, you know, the ultimate killing machine, developing a conscience and looking after a family, they thought it was like the most ridiculous idea available. And I just thought, at the very, I can't remember if, no, it is in Terminator 2. He mentions very, very, well, it's a very, very key scene. He says, I am a neural net processor. Now, for anyone who doesn't know,
it's a learning computer.
It's a learning computer. And the idea, and even in Terminator 1, he said...
This is the thing as well. Right, to cut you off completely, because I was talking about this yesterday, so it's fresh in my brain box.
Yeah, go on.
The T800 model have their learning chip switched off, which is why they have to cut his head open, pull it out, and switch it on so he can learn. Because the T101s, it was switched on.
Wrong.
They made them efficient killers, but they learned too much.
Wrong.
Cole was left in the world for 25 years.
That's one of the things that I think that a lot of people have sort of missed out on. There is a very obvious sequence in Terminator 1 where Kyle is describing the future war and the Terminators to Sarah Connor, and he specifically says they were given neural net processors, etc., etc.
Wrong.
Oh, actually, no, it is in T2 in the director's cut where Sarah Connor sort of disdainfully says, "You learn because it makes us easier to kill."
Yeah.
I'm like, well, there you go. There's your answer.
Killers. But this is my theory. The reason that they had to switch the 800s chip on is because it was already on for the 101 models. It made them very efficient killing machines, but I reckon that they had problems that we didn't see because we haven't seen that far ahead into the future. So it makes sense that they give them the same chip to turn it off. So that makes sense that the Terminator in this does learn to be...
Yeah.
to mimic being a human.
Wrong.
Now, I've heard that obviously the film has been classified as a box office bomb. And despite James Cameron being very, very, in a lot of recent interviews saying that he's a writer, he will come up with the next film in the series, no problem, because obviously, he even said it himself, the films make lots of money, we want to make lots of money, and there are fans out there that enjoy the series. But it's also been revealed in a very, very recent interview with, what are they called? I forget the name. There's a production company that worked on the film, and one of the insiders said that because the film was such a bomb, that's the one. They said that because the film bombed so hard, there will not be any further Terminator films in the franchise.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
I'm fine with that.
I mean, if they're going to bow out gracefully with
on a high,
a decent enough film,
and then release Terminator 1, Judgment Day, and Dark Fate as a trilogy.
Yes.
Fuck the other ones.
Yeah, I mean,
although I like Salvation.
See, the first time I watched Terminator 3, I think I wasn't very invested in it, and because obviously it came straight after Terminator 2, it was not what I wanted from the film. So I sort of enjoyed it partially, but I didn't rate it as a film. I bought it a few months back and rewatched it again, and now I have way more time for the film. There were some good ideas in there.
I like the end of Terminator 3 with the twist that the whole point of it was to get John Connor to safety. They were never trying to save anyone but him, because he needed to stay alive.
Yeah.
And then the whole nukes being launched because Judgment Day is inevitable. You can't stop it. You can only postpone it.
Yeah.
And even in Dark Fate, the fact that this Terminator is being sent back from 2042, Judgment Day happened, just it happened 20 years, 30 years later. You can't stop Judgment Day, because it's like taking out a terrorist leader or something. You can kill Bin Laden, but some other fucker's going to come along much worse. And that's what they do with Cyberdyne. You get rid of Cyberdyne, but AI is never going to stop being created.
Precisely, yeah. I mean, there were two things I think about Dark Fate that sort of threw me a little bit. I didn't think that what's the female character's name? Danny.
Danny.
The female John Connor. I don't think she was a realistically portrayed character. There was no sort of real character arc for her, and I didn't believe her sort of almost metamorphosis into this sort of like leader.
It's too quick.
It's far too quick.
We saw what happened with Sarah Connor over 2 films happened with her over 1.
Yeah, and it was
too
like
quick.
you say, it was so quick. But the other thing that I don't think anyone has mentioned, and I picked up on right after the end of Dark Fate. Obviously, I'm going to prefix this with a spoiler warning.
Massive spoiler
warning. So, for anyone listening, stick a bucket over your head and smack it repeatedly with a piece of wood until I've stopped talking. But at the very end of Terminator Dark Fate, obviously, both Carl, Arnie, and the Rev 9 Terminator have been completely obliterated and they're destroyed.
But they've just been left there.
Yeah,
and Grace has been left there as well.
Yes.
And there's already evidence of Grace in the border security place with the X-rays and everything, and her body's been left there as far as we know.
Yeah.
She might have been moved because she was only augmented human, so she's not going to weigh as much as 2 melted Terminators fused to the floor.
But there will be bits of those Terminators.
Just like there was at the end of Terminator 1. When the Terminator got crushed and his chip and arm survived.
Yes, and see, that's the thing. I knew that you would probably be one of the only people I spoke to about it who would...
So I was thinking the same thing.
Yes.
And as soon as that happened, I was like, right, there's your sequel setup, because the sequel is just going to be a remake of Judgment Day.
Yeah.
Where you're going to see the team who made Legion fucking about with the bits that they found.
I would like to see a Terminator movie set entirely in the Terminator 2 style future war.
Salvation.
No, that wasn't what I wanted. Salvation for me was kind of like...
Even the augmented human from this was just Salvation.
Yes, it's true.
Almost.
It's true.
Yeah.
I don't think it worked though, because Salvation. I watched it and it was such a dumb action film the first time I watched it. I just kind of switched off and didn't really pay much attention to the story.
Oh, I hate this guy. I know what's going to happen now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You realise that I can't remember how long we've actually been talking for. We haven't spoken at all about the actual
I think we
footage.
mentioned the game twice.
Yeah.
We mentioned the boom hammer.
But
yeah, we've got like
haven't done too badly.
30 seconds left of this. You can probably guess how it's going to end. I'm not worried about spoilers for this. Because look at that.
Yeah.
That looks like the Terminator from Salvation.
Yeah.
So this is where we're going to leave this one for today. So thank you very much for watching, and we will see you next time.
We will see you next time.